Is this the first time we've actually talked to each other?
I think so. I was thinking backstage, the very first time I was ever on television was on your show at late night, the first stand-ups that I ever did, and I remember being backstage and how nervous I was, and being here, and I was like, okay, well, at least I can just sit this time.
Yeah, look at you now, exactly, yeah. I know you did some Weekend Update summer shows.
Yeah, you came by and were on one, which is fantastic.
No, please, I love doing, I get nervous doing that.
No way, how?
I don't know. Well, I'm here, I feel at home, I can do whatever, but something about SNL makes my heart beat.
Well, I get more nervous if you're there, because you're a person I watch do it.
Yeah, please. I mean, but do you feel like, I remember I used to feel like on Saturday Night Live, when you had the summer off, you're missing all these great jokes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we missed, like, Scaramucci.
Yeah.
You know?
You missed
just like, I mean, he kind of missed, almost everyone missed him. He was only
it's true.
About 2 weeks.
That's
but
true, yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing is now, whatever we miss, we can be pretty confident he's going to come up with something new.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Something else is going to go down.
Waiting for us like a little present when we get back. And you and Seth came on together, which was probably the first time you came on together when we were there.
Yeah.
And I would have never expected the way I would see you guys was as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, we were dressed up. Yeah, exactly.
Full period costumes.
Seth had like an after party for his show somewhere. I said, you should go dress as Thomas Jefferson. He was like, no. But it was fun. I want to hear, everyone has a Lorne story about meeting Lorne for the first time.
Yeah.
Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live and also producer of this show. But how did you meet Lorne, and do you remember it?
I remember going in and interviewing, and I was interviewing to be a writer. So I was 22 years old. I went in to be a writer, and first I met with the head writers of the show. So it was Tina at the time and Andrew Steele were the head writers.
Oh, yeah.
And I went in, and I was really scared about that meeting and I was right in retrospect. Like that was the big meeting because they were the ones that were really digging in and read my submission. So that was scary. And the people going into that meeting just told me, you don't say anything insane. Which normally I don't go around saying insane things.
Yeah, so now it's got you thinking.
Not a worry.
Wait.
But then when someone tells you it, you're like, oh my God, well I better not say something insane.
Yeah, do I say insane things?
Just yell out Razzmatazz in the middle of an interview or go Canucks, whatever. I don't know what people yell.
Razzmatazz.
And so I got through that meeting, and then they were like, oh, and we're also going to have you interview with Lorne.
As you're there.
As I'm leaving, I had no idea. And sometimes it's better not to know because you can't overthink it. So they're like, we're also going to have you go in and meet with Lorne. And I was like, great. And then, so I go in and meet with Lorne, and he sits down, and he starts asking me all these different questions about me and my life, you know, like, where are you from? Like, you know, what else have you been doing with your life? And I've been, like, nothing much. And he asked me, and then he was like, what's your favorite cast that you watched when you watched the show, SNL? And I was like, oh, I loved, you know, Farley and Sandler and Rock and Spade. And he was like, and Dana? And I was like, yeah, I love Dana too.
Yeah,
of course, I love Dana Carvey. He's the best, you know. And he's like, okay, good.
Yeah.
And then all these questions, and then he goes, now, do you have any questions for me? Which is a classic interview thing you should be prepared for. But I was not.
You were not, yeah.
And he goes, do you have any questions for me? And I was like, yeah. Where are you from?
That's not bad. I mean, you flipped the script. Yeah, you flipped the tables, asked him his own question.
It's really
Genius.
bad. It's really bad.
It's awful, yeah.
And then he was like, well, you know, I'm from Canada, and I came here to, you know, start the show. And I was like, damn it, I knew that.
Yeah, you totally,
Very
of course
famous
knew that.
facts anyone would know. And then he was like, see you, and maybe you had the same thing with him, but he was like, anyway, see you around. And then you don't know what that means. Like, see you around, like, maybe you're hired, or see you around, like, maybe come back in 10 years when you know better than to say, where are you from?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, stuff like that. But look at you now. Now you're crushing on Weekend Update. I mean, you and Michael, fantastic.
I love doing it.
Great job.
Very lucky. I love doing it with Che.
You're really good at it. You're really great at it. Do you remember asking me for advice? Do you remember this at all?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. I remember right before we started, the very first time I went on Update, I emailed you and I asked, like, if, you know, because you'd come back, you'd hosted, and I'd met you and stuff, and I was reaching out, and you were very nice. I said, do you have any advice or anything? And you sent me a couple things of advice, and one of them was, whatever you do, don't, like, take a weird moment and, like, introduce yourself at the beginning of the segment. Just, like, go into it, get to comedy, start doing it.
Yeah, you're doing Weekend Updates, like fake newscasters,
fake news.
kind of. Fake news, yeah. But
the original fake news.
The original fake news, yeah. But, yeah, just get to it, get to the jokes.
Get to the jokes.
Yeah, and crush, yeah.
Very first thing I did, take a moment to do a real weird introduction. And I didn't do it at dress rehearsal, and then between dress and air, someone was like, well, you got to introduce yourself. And, you know, people just tell you things, and you're like, oh, I better do it. And then I did it, and then afterwards, immediately your advice came to mind right after. And I was like,
after you did
damn
it. You're like, hi, I'm so excited to do this. And I go, oh, Colin, that's exactly what I told you not to do.
Yeah. And I love Dana Carvey. Why did I
And
blow?
you love Dana Carvey, yeah.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on and on and on.